Hello, friends. So, this is 9 years as a bhikkhu and 10 years in robes video. It has been a couple years since I made one of these videos. And I think that's okay because the last couple years have been kind of the same trajectory and progression. Probably wasn't much to say. Although now at this point, where things are starting to change and I'm reflecting on the past years of my nomad life, I figure it's a good time to make a video. So, since 2020, I've been a nomad, meaning I'll stay a month or two here, a month or two there, sometimes a little bit longer. But I haven't had a kind of permanent place to settle down in. And this has been both good and bad. It's been good because I've been able to visit many places and to be with different monastics and at different monasteries and see how they do things, and to learn from them as well. One of the things that I've known for a while is that I did want to, um, eventually start my own monastery and to ordain and train people and things like this. And I knew I had the skills, the interpersonal skills, from lay life, from my experiences, to do that in a pretty good way. But what I didn't have is doing that within the monastic context. And so these past 5 years, one of the things that I've wanted to do was to kind of use this time to develop myself as a monastic, to develop my knowledge and skills and wisdom as a monastic. And the nomad life has suited me in this because I have been able to learn from many different monastics in many different places. And it has also kind of suited in me that I'm really a homebody. I do best when I'm kind of in one place for a long period of time. And the nomad life has basically made that impossible. And so my productivity and all the things I want to do, like master Pali and write a book and all these kind of things, um, has kind of taken a back seat. Because as soon as I kind of get comfortable and settled into a routine, I'm going to another place with a different schedule and all these kind of things. So it's been a bit frustrating in that regard, but enlightening in other regards. But this was not something that I had planned to do forever, nor that I wanted to do forever. I'm not built for the nomad life on a permanent basis. And so one of the themes that I've been noticing, in the last year or so, is that the signs are pointing to that the nomad life is coming to an end. And this, of course, has been one of these signs has been the development of Maggasekha and the the signs and the my own understanding of how Maggasekha and everything actually has a really good chance to work out in Colorado. Before, for the last, I've been visiting Colorado for 4 years. And it's been a slow, well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I have to talk to people, I have to see what's going on, etc. And now we are to the point where this looks like it's going to happen. And as of this video, for those of you who might have missed my previous videos talking about this, Maggasekha is an official incorporated entity in Colorado, and it is the paperwork for 501c3 Easy is in with the IRS as of about a week and a half ago. So hopefully in a week or two, we find out that Maggasekha is approved as a 501c3, and I'm planning to head out to Colorado and in a couple weeks to set it up, and then hopefully sometime maybe spring or summer next year, move to Colorado in a small apartment, or whatever kind of opportunities arise in terms of places to stay. So this has been something I've been thinking about for quite a while, and something that I've been contemplating, and it's starting to happen. And there is a part of me that is definitely hopeful and happy that the nomad life is possibly coming to an end. Um, of course, the nomad life might be coming to the end, but the very busy life of somebody building a Buddhist organization is probably about to begin. I'm sure in a couple of years I'll be looking back at my nomad life saying, "Wow, it would be so much nicer. I could get so much done if I was just a nomad again." Right? That's how our mind is, isn't it? That's how we usually do things. But this is where I'm at. This is the end of the nomad days. And recently I was at Abhayagiri in California, and I kind of viewed the being able to spend a vasa at Abhayagiri as almost like the culmination. It was like going to be something that I do like almost towards the end of my nomad days. And because I such gratitude and such I consider Abhayagiri to be such a good place for me to learn how to be a good trainer of monks and stuff like that. I was really looking forward to staying for the Vasa. And once I realized nutrition wise and energy wise it just wasn't going to work, I felt a little sad. And I was like, oh, I've been wanting to do this for so many years now, and all this. And but it was interesting, as I was kind of walking up the mountain, it was like a voice spoke to me, like in my head. And the voice was basically telling me, "You're ready. You have everything you need." And it's a pretty common thing that I've noticed being around monks who are like 7 vasa, 8 vasa, as you're getting closer to being a Tara, right? A senior monastic, or in the Ajahn Chah tradition, when you're at 10 years, 10 Vasa, you become an Ajahn, right? There's a kind of like a reflection of, am I ready to be called that? Am I ready to be seen as a Taro, as an elder? And so I've also had that, and that kind of voice in my head, that whatever, maybe it was a deva, maybe it was just my conscience, who knows, that said, "You're ready. You have everything you need in you." And I understood that this didn't mean that I was going to be able to do it perfectly, but as things arose and I had to try to figure things out and make decisions and things like that, that I would be okay. And so when I had that kind of that voice, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I don't need to feel like inadequate, or that I need to keep going to different places and all of these kind of things. And so that was another kind of sign. It's like the things are, the karma and whatever you want to call it, is just things are falling into place for this next step in my life, right? As I next year become a Tara, where I can ordain people and do all these kind of things. And so it's because it is funny. And when I first really started seriously thinking about Colorado, and I made the 5, 10, and 15-year plans, the 5-year plan was to be in Colorado in Maggasekha Vihara by the time I'm a Tara. And if things continue to go pretty well, that's actually going to be met. Anybody who knows about making 5, 10, 15-year plans, they're usually kind of aspirational. You never like really expect that you're actually going to meet that plan, but you just try to get there and get as far as you can. And so far, I mean, I honestly, 6 months ago, if you told me Maggasekha exists as an entity in Colorado, I would have been like, really? Wow, that's pretty amazing. I would never have expected that, and here we are. So, you know, this is a couple days after, I think it's the 2nd or the 3rd of November. 10 years ago, this past Halloween, October 31st, is when I had my pubaja. I became a samanera. I was put in robes for the first time. And so I've been kind of reflecting on that. 10 years in robes. Now, as I said, I'm not a bhikkhu 10 years. I'm a bhikkhu 9 years. Hence, 9 years of bhikkhu and 10 years in robes, the title of the video. But this does, when you're doing something for 10 years, you start to, kind of contemplate on these things. And, as I think about it, there's no regrets. This is still the best decision I've ever made. In 10 years, I can't honestly think of a serious thought of disrobing and going back to the lay life. It's a good life. And, it's not easy, and there's lots of ups and downs and lots of struggles, but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. So I'm looking forward to hopefully setting roots in Colorado and building up Maggasekha and growing, as a monastic. When I think about building Maggasekha and building a monastery and all this kind of stuff, I also think about it's not just for others. The Buddha says that, in the suttas, that you should do things that are both for yourself and others. That's the best. And I think maybe I've not said this in one of these videos, but years ago I realized I can't become awakened on my own. And to live a good, pure, really potent monastic life, you need to have good conditions. A good, well-supported place, and that's with monks who are seriously practicing well, all these kind of things, and that's not easy. And so I've thought, well, I was not really born into that as a monastic, and I've not really had that in these 10 years. But maybe I can build it. So maybe what I want to build is not just for those who would come, but also for me. And that's how I view it. I don't view it that I'm doing this, oh, I'm so compassionate. I just want everybody to, benefit from Maggasekha, which is, that's true, but there's also, I think, for myself. If you can do something that's beneficial for both yourself and others, then that's the best. Because I've not given up on the Noble Eightfold Path. I've not given up on wanting to become awakened. I just have a bit more of a wise understanding of dependent origination and the conditions that lead to awakening. So what I'm attempting to do is to build something that can be conducive to both my awakening and anybody else who would also like to come and be a part of it as well. So I don't know if there's much else to say. Nothing really comes to mind. I think that the most important thing is that I've kind of gotten over that feeling of inadequacy or that scariness of being like, oh, I'm going to be a Tara, like I'm going to be a senior monastic. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm not the most dignified monastic. There's so many more monks who are much more dignified than I am in these kind of things, and I just have to kind of be, okay, I'll work towards these things, but I have to meet myself where I'm at, and where I'm at is okay. I'm just going to try to keep doing better, keep developing myself, and keep developing Maggasekha. As I've said in a video a long time ago, in a way, I kind of see Maggasekha and myself as connected, kind of like in the Arthurian legends, like King Arthur and the land are connected. when one is thriving, the other is thriving. When one is not, the other is not. Um, so Maggasekha and I are kind of connected in that part, at least until this life is over. And hopefully, if things have gone well, somebody else can take over Maggasekha. But for now, Maggasekha and my paths are basically the same path. And so this is what I'm looking forward to. This is what I'm moving towards. You know, my monk's life is changing a little bit, but it's not this part of being a senior monastic and you know, having responsibilities and building a place. That's a bit more normal. Like my early years of Bhavana, and I was a junior monastic, and I had so much responsibility and wore so many hats, and you know, was even for, you know, a year or two basically running the day to day of the monastery. That's not normal. so, so that's more normal for a monk now. That's where I am now. Um, so this is my monastic life, and I think this is enough. I don't know if something comes up later, maybe I'll make an addendum video, but I think this is pretty much all I wanted to cover. So, all right, friends, Suki Hotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. And for those of you who are on board with helping to grow Maggasekha, we have a lot of work ahead of us, but if we work together, I think we can make it into something really great for the benefit of both all of us and all other beings that will be impacted by it. Thank you.